Hey, and welcome back to the Emlyn in the Mix podcast, season 3, episode 16. I cannot believe it. Like, when I was looking at what episode we're up to today, I was like, wow, we're up to the 16th episode for season 3 already. Moving along in 2022, and there is a lot happening. If this is your first time on the podcast, thank you so much for joining me. What is this podcast about? Music technology, audio technology. If you like the latest in music, software, hardware, music gear, then you're going to love this podcast, and today is no exception. There was a lot of hardware drops this last week, and I think it has something to do with the fact that NAMM, yes, NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants, if you don't know what that acronym means, but you probably heard the word NAMM before, there you go, you've learnt a new acronym. How cool is that? NAMM is back for 2022. I think the last 2 years we didn't have NAMM. We definitely didn't have it last year, and I'm pretty much sure, no, we did get it in 2020, so we missed 1 year, and now they've moved it to June, but it's back in Anaheim, California. The big show is back, where you get all the music technology, music drop, technology news, all the new drops is what I'm trying to say, comes at that time of the year. And I maybe the music companies are a little bit confused about when to drop stuff, but they're dropping stuff now, and there was an incredible amount of awesome new music gear hardware just released this last week, and that's what we're going to cover. We've got our feature today, which we're going to be looking at. Is it controversial? A little bit maybe, but the technology is amazing. A brand new tiny mixer from Teenage Enginnering, which we're going to discuss towards the end of this podcast, but stick around because I got a lot of cool stuff to get through with you guys today. To all the regular listeners, thank you so much for coming back week to week. Love the support. Now, if you want to support me further, I actually want to go to NAMM. I'm in Australia, and getting to California will cost a bit of money. So any support you can give me, shout me a bunch of coffees, link down below. Shout me 1 million coffees, if you will. And we'll be covering NAMM on the floor. If that happens, it may not happen. It may not logistically work out for me, but it's up to you guys. If you like the content and you want to see it expand, every little bit helps. Even just watching, you don't have to donate, but even just watching the podcast, I really appreciate it. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's get stuck into the news for this week. What has been happening around the world in music technology? And the first one here comes to us, a brand new instrument drop from Native Instruments. Yes, Native Instruments, week to week now, we're getting brand new Native Instruments software and news, which is really cool to see. And I'm really hoping, I don't have any inside or backs, behind the scenes news from Native Instruments in terms of hardware, but I'm really hoping there's some new hardware this year. It can be in the form of machine or even the complete series, the keyboards. If they do any new hardware, even DJ stuff, it will excite me nonetheless. And maybe, who knows, some new stuff will drop at NAMM. So, and we've only got a month and a bit to go, which is pretty exciting. But this is a new instrument here, Laws, and it sounds freaking phenomenal. Yes, it is a little bit on the expensive side, but if this is your sort of sound that you're after, or if you're into evolving sounds with very realistic, well, they're highly sampled instruments here of melding and meshing together. Let me just read a little bit back here for what it actually is. So it is an eclectic collection of organic instruments purpose-built for creating musical stories. Add dynamic realism and movement to your productions with this playful, multi-dimensional library. So you got 16 instruments expressed through over 300 hand-played articulations, classic woodwind, rare chordophones, and compelling vocals. Let's just have a listen, because I could talk about Laws, but without really just having a listen to how incredible this instrument sounds, you won't get the idea. So let's just have a quick listen to some audio demos here of Laws. Here we go. Wow, I mean, if you're scoring for like a Netflix series or something, you have got it with Laws. How immersive and massive does that sound? And it's got obviously real instruments throughout the whole thing. So meticulously created and refined, Laws dissolves the boundaries of traditional instrumentation, allowing you to seamlessly blend eclectic tones, enter a space where the timbre of a mandolin, horse fiddling dances together with a woodwind ensemble. I don't know why I'm laughing there. I was just mangling those words probably. Or hear what medieval pipes sound like, accompanied by violin with a Middle Eastern flair. So it's sort of like you're combining sounds, and you can hear in that that first demo we played just how much, when you're combining all the sounds, how rich it sounds, right? So choose from 16 instruments and hundreds of articulations to mix and match. The possibilities for fantastical blends are boundless. And you can play with human feel. Stories told through song are universal to the human experience, and that's why Laws continues this age-old legacy with personable touches. Musicians were sampled, playing with organic variations, random swells, unexpected tremolos, and stray harmonics to create natural movement at the performance level. Using multi-mic recordings, instruments can be physically staged within multi-dimensional smoke plumes, adding dynamic realism to your production. Very cool. And here's the creator here. I believe he works. It's Clinton Shorter's DreamWorks. So Clinton Shorter is a Canadian film and television composer, best known for scoring District 9, a true oral raconteur. He weaves his musical narratives through texture and timbre. Learn about Shorter's writing process here. You can watch the video if you head over to the nativeinstruments.com website. Check out Laws, and it works with complete control, of course, here as well. But just a fantastic new instrument. I will put a link below for Laws if you want to check that out. That is an affiliation link. Full disclosure, yes, finally there is a tiny bit of kickback for me. You can shout your boy a coffee, or you can just pick up Laws using the link below, and that will support me. So I do want to give full disclosure. Yes, when there is an opportunity for me to actually, not only help you guys, but you can also help me back, help support the channel by picking up Laws using the link below. But again, I also want to stress that although I do get kickback with an affiliation link, there is no, on the back end here, Native Instruments are not telling me what to say about Laws. I am really excited. I do have a copy of Laws. I need to check it out. It is massive. It is 70 gigabytes, and I actually need to free up space on my hard drive just so I can download it. But Native Instruments doesn't tell me what to say about Laws. Just want to make that fully disclosurable. But do check out, if you do want to get Laws, link down below. You can click on that to purchase a copy, and you'll go to supporting the Emlyn in the mix endeavor here. All right, let's move along to the next piece of news here. This is pretty cool, actually. This is just a quick drop from Korg. The Korg Collection 3, if you've been thinking about getting it, or if you already own it, is now compatible with the it's now native Apple Silicon. It works on native Apple Silicon, and it has VST3. It's been updated, so some of the most timeless, legendary Korg keyboard sounds in synth history can be found in the updated Korg Collection 3. And you've now got native Apple Silicon support and VST3, meaning that you can now use your favorite Korg synthesizers with the latest machines and DAWs or DAWs. The update is available free of charge with the latest Korg software pass or on the Korg ID website. So if you have the Korg software pass on your computer, literally just turn it on. I did this yesterday, and you'll see they're all updatable. That's if you have the Apple M1 chip. If you don't, if you're still on Intel, then you don't need to bother with this. But this is just another step forward towards getting utilizing the full speed of these brand new M1 chips, the native chips by Apple. So if you do have an Apple computer, which I've done a survey before on my YouTube channel, most of my listeners do, most of my viewers do, this is very cool. And you have Korg Collection 3, of course. Just a nice little update there. Last one here, again from Native Instruments, the last piece of news from Native Instruments today, I should say, is that this deal we spoke about last week, and I don't know if it hit home for any of you, but this free plugin deal from Soundwide is going to end really soon. Again, if you listen to this podcast in a few days from now, I'm sorry, you probably miss out because it ends, where's the date here? It ends on the 26th of April, yes. So what is this Soundwide? Well, it's just a celebration of NI is now a part of Soundwide. And Soundwide is basically a team of people who've gotten together who want to, like a bunch of companies. So you got Isotope, Native Instruments, Plugin Alliance and Brainworks all collaborating here, and you got a bunch of artists that have all collaborated as a board of directors, and now they're offering you basically free plugins to make music, and there's actually $1,700 of free plugins up here. And on the board of directors, you got people like Alicia Keys and not Annie Mitchell. I said that last week. It's Anne Minicielli. Just don't get me started on trying to say people's names. Anyway, you got a bunch of really incredible artists there, and you get $1,700 of software for free to make music with. This, you've got a few days, so if you're listening to this podcast right now, please go out and do yourself a favor. If you haven't got these plugins, especially, I mean, of course, if you haven't got them, why not just go get them? Like Ethereal Earth, Neutron Elements, where are they? The list here. Anyway, it's a bunch of plugins from iZotope, Native Instruments, and so forth. Even the Plugin Alliance here, you get a bunch like Black Box Analog Design, HD2, Shadow Hills Master and Compressor, and a bunch more there. But don't miss out on this. You got a few days. It's free. I mean, what more can I say? There you go, guys. I do offer freebies as well. It's not just me talking about paying for stuff. All right. This next one here is coming to us from we haven't spoken about Output much on the podcast, but they are an incredible company indeed. My desk here, my hardware desk, I mean, it's just a desk. It's not hardware, but it is physical. It's tactile. I can touch it. It is here in the physical universe. My desk is actually created by the team at Output. They make this desk actually is very good. I had one of my YouTube viewers, I was going to say YouTubers, I don't know, what are the YouTubers called? Are they just called YouTubers, or are they the people that create the content? Who knows? Anyway, one of my viewers said that my studio looks very efficient, and I have to attribute it to this incredible desk that was made by Output. Anyway, Output not only make studio gear or studio hardware, studio furniture, that's the word, but they also make software. And one of the really cool pieces of software that they have in their arsenal of incredible instruments is the Arcade 2.2. And Arcade is the software, has just been updated to version 2.2. And one of the cool features now in version 2.2 is this incredible Arpeggiator. So Output is excited to introduce the latest game-changing feature for Arcade. So if you're an Arcade user, or you have been looking at getting Arcade by Output, now they've got this incredible Arpeggiator feature, and it's quite dope, to be real with you. The Arpeggiator, a multi-layered, multi-step sequencer that can turn one regular block chord into a dynamic arrangement. The Arpeggiator is available now in Arcade 2.2 as a free update for those of you who already have Arcade, and you can download it here on the website we're looking at. So this is coming from Output. We're excited about the infinite ways the Arpeggiator will open up new ways to play, arrange, and experiment with note kits. Dizzying layered guitars, gated pads, symphonies of synthesizers, all of these possibilities are just one chord away. And current Arcade subscribers can download a 2.2 update for their OS via the download tab. So if you're on their, their monthly plan, you'll be able to download this for free. Let's have a quick listen to it, because it is, as far as arpeggiators go, arpeggiators excite me. I love arpeggiators. And as far as arpeggiators go, this looks like one of the most well thought out arpeggiators I've ever seen. Have a quick listen back to this. Here we go.
Introducing the Arpeggiator, your new secret weapon in Arcade 2.2. Play any chord, and Arcade's Arpeggiator will sequence the notes into driving pulses, brilliant motifs, and mind-boggling textures. We went way beyond the limits of a traditional arpeggiator to give you 3 layers of independent, stackable sequences with limitless sound design potential. Here's what to expect in this massive free update. Find the arpeggiator within the tweak page of any note kit in Arcade. You'll notice 3 layers, each with its own arpeggiator. Use the power icons on the left to activate. You've got full control over everything, from standard features like swing and pattern to more creative controls like repetitions and pedal tones. Break new ground by adding sequences with independent rates. And if you're not exactly sure what you want, you'll have no problem stirring the imagination with one of our mini presets or various randomized functions. Check out the walkthrough video linked below if you want to learn more about the Arpeggiator in Arcade 2.2. It's easy to use and even easier to update. Just download this free Arcade updater at output.com/account/arcade.
Now, that type of sequencing that they've got going or happening there with the arpeggiator is nothing new, but I've actually never seen that applied to an arpeggiator. That I remember there was an instrument by FXpansion, the Geese drum computer, and it did something similar where the sequences could be changed per block, like bar per se, but I haven't seen it done to an arpeggiator, and I think it's a really cool idea. There was also Isotope's brake tweaker. I think it did something like that, but it's not an arpeggiator. So this is really cool to see this being applied to an arpeggiator, where you've got actual individual segments or bars where you can have either the arpeggiators running at a 16th beat, and then in the next one it's only running at a half beat, and then you got a whole bunch of variations of tweaking that you can do to the arpeggiator, such as velocity and all other modulation, that sort of thing. I think this is really cool and it's very interesting indeed. It's included as a free update, of course, in Arcade 2.2. I'm going to have a link below for output if you want to check out the Arcade 2.2 down below. But yeah, it's something definitely to keep your eyes out for, and this is an incredible update. We're going to do, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel Emlyn in the Mix, I mean, what are you doing with your life right now? But make sure you do hit that subscribe button, because we'll do a deep dive into the Arcade 2.2 update with the arpeggiator in a not too near distant future video. All right, next piece of news here comes to us from Boss, who are Roland, or it's Roland's sister company, more or less. Maybe Boss, and I actually don't know the backstory to this. Maybe Boss was originally its own company and Roland purchased them out. Anyway, Boss do great things, and we spoke about them not long ago with their Katana bass amps. Well, now they've actually just released, it looks like Katana, I guess they're Katana? Breakthrough bass experience through the Waza innovation, which is a wireless personal bass amplification system with the Waza Air bass. So they're basically just headphones, but they're designed and they're wireless for playing your bass guitar with. Check this out. So powered by breakthrough Boss spatial technology, Waza Air Bass brings the revolutionary Waza Air experience to all bass guitarists. This inspiring system creates an incredibly natural and immersive environment for playing with headphones using a gyro sensor that puts you in a moving 3D space with your instrument. How cool is this? This is so freaking cool. I love that there are more companies coming onto this spatial audio thing. It's very exciting indeed. Like, you put these headphones on, you play the bass, and it feels like you're in a real room. You're moving your head, you're moving around, and it actually reminds me a lot of, we spoke about it not long ago, but the Wave NX series, which is the virtual studio room, utilizes the spatial audio as well, putting you in a virtual ambient space. So this does pretty much the same thing, similar thing. Choose from 5 expressive amplifier types and over 30 effects optimized for bass. Then practice solo groove with the onboard acoustic drum patterns and metronome, or jam with music streamed from your smartphone. And thanks to the wireless connectivity setup is quick and hassle-free with no cables. So that is the Waza Air Bass. If you want to check it out, it's a brand new hardware drop. As I said, there's a few hardware drops this week, which is super exciting. And that comes to us from Boss. And the next hardware drop here is from Korg, who have just recently announced that the Volca FM2, the very popular Volca FM synthesizer, that little box Volca FM, is now iteration 2, and this comes to us from musictech.com. Korg announces Volca FM2, the next generation of the Volca FM mini synth. Now, there's already some videos up on YouTube on this. I just had a quick look before, and there's some dudes, I don't know how they get early access to these pieces of hardware. I'm jealous. Send them to Emlyn in the Mix. So if you're watching this in the future, you can see that I'm very passionate about this sort of thing. But Korg's Yamaha DX7 inspired compact mini synth Volca FM, which was first released 6 years ago, is receiving a second generation update in Volca FM2. And the new Volca FM looks identical to its predecessor, but internally there have been some major upgrades. And with significant changes to its capabilities, Korg has expanded the polyphony of the synth, as it now boasts up to 6 voices instead of the original 3. And additionally, Korg has added a MIDI output via a TRS updater, enabling the Volca FM sequencer to control external gear, as well as brand new effects with digital shimmering reverb that will join the existing chorus. And there are more updates to the 16-step sequencer, including a pattern randomization tool for auto generation, and this joins the pre-existing features such as warp, active step pattern, chain, and an improved arpeggiator. And despite the differences, Korg has kept some things similar with the original FM synth engine based on the 32 algorithmic design of Yamaha's DX7, and can even import classic patches via Syntakt. So you can check out the Korg has a demo here. We'll play a little bit of it back. I didn't check this before the podcast. Oh, it's not too long. Let's play it back. Here we go. I'm kind of blown away by that demo, actually. I didn't actually get to see that before the podcast, and that sounds freaking phenomenal. I actually liked it. It was like a lo-fi, cyberpunky sort of demo, but you actually got to hear how good the Volca FM sounds. Volca FM 2, sounds the second-gen Volca FM. Wow, that sounds really freaking cool. I mean, Korg are very innovative as it stands, but I think this is like their pioneering, sort of unexpected, but very popular little groove box, whatever you call those small, things that they made. And the Korg Volca FM, I think this one's going to sell like hotcakes, actually. That sounds really good. Second gen Volca FM is due to be released in mid-May. So that's just before NAMM, actually. I think the music companies are they don't know what to do, because NAMM used to be at the start of the year, so they could release all their gear and get their, supporters and so forth, stockholders, whatever you want to call them, get them excited about the future. And now we're doing NAMM in the middle of the year. I think the music companies are just like, let's just release gear now, or even maybe they just get it out before NAMM and then they can showcase it at NAMM. But anyway, NAMM used to be about the new drops. I don't know if it is, because these new drops, there's plentiful here, even this week. So the price hasn't been confirmed, and Korg's first iteration of Volca FM blew music tech away in 2016 with its awarding it with a 9 out of 10 review. So there are plenty of fast attack keyboard sounds, organs aplenty, and pianos, more than enough strings and pads, guitars and basses, plus lots of other bells and whistles. It's not really the sounds you start with that make Volca FM so cool, it's what you end up doing with them. So this is an exciting addition to that family, and if you like the Volca FM series, you need to check this out. Let's keep moving along here. This was a massive drop. You may have already seen this. This is actually bonkers what has happened in the last 24 hours. So Elektron released the Syntakt, I hope I'm saying that right, this little groove box here. And Andrew Huang did an awesome, Andrew Huang, the YouTuber, music technology YouTuber. If you're watching me, you must have heard of him. If not, go check him out. He did a really good demo of the Syntakt. What is the Syntakt, you ask? You're listening on the podcast, so you're watching me, watching my beautiful face here on YouTube. What is it? It's a 12-track drum computer and synthesizer. Enter a sonic metropolis with Syntakt, analog and digital synthesis, drum and melody in full fusion. See, I told you how many hardware drops did we get this last week in the music technology world. So all your sounds crafted, sequencing and performance needs are fulfilled in an all-round music megabox that fits in your lap. Syntakt is a drum specialist full of percussive possibilities, but its 4 analog and 8 digital tracks can be used for melody, harmony and bass sounds too. Experience epic sounds from the past, pulling others into an existence from the future. The streets of Syntakt are never ending. The neon lights are never dimming. It's underground, it's fathomless. Discover worlds within worlds. Adore now, explore forever. Fantastic marketing. That was one of the best, actually. That last paragraph made me sound amazing. All right, let's have a quick look at a demo here, or introducing Syntakt. Let's have a quick listen back to it here. How does this little drum computer sound? This sounds phenomenal. This is what Elektron do best. Now, I'm not really an Elektron channel. I'm not one of those. There's bunches of these YouTubers and people who follow Elektron religiously. You know, they love their gear. And look, I'm more of an outsider when it comes to Elektron in terms of knowing about their hardware. I don't have any Elektron gear, although I have to say this one has actually pulled me in a little bit, and I'm very interested in Syntakt. And this is what happened in the last 24 hours. If you head over to the website, out of stock. Now, I don't know if that's because it hasn't officially gone live, but it looks to me like this thing went live yesterday and they've sold out. So I could be wrong on that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I'd like to see these hardware units getting out. I don't know what price they were either, because we can't even check. If we go to out of stock here, we can't even check how much they were. But there was some incredible demos. As I said, there was one on YouTube from Andrew Huang, did a great demo of it and showcased how good it sounds. But even just from that little introductory video, you could hear that was all Syntakt. You could hear those synthesizers and strings and all the drums and the crunchiness. Everything is all done in the box, and it sounds freaking phenomenal. In fact, those last two instruments we looked at, the Korg Volca FM 2 and this, they're both, if they aren't futuristic instruments, I don't know what is. I think we're going in the right direction in terms of sound here, guys. It's fantastic indeed. So let me read a little bit more about what the Syntakt offers. So meet the machines. There are 35 sound generating machines to call on, covering a wide range of drum and melodic sounds. Some machines have been reimagined from analog rhythm and model cycles with deeper sound control for the latter, while others are entirely new to the world. And for you to create and personalize your sound, we've made sure you've got a set of parameter controls tailor-made for each machine. They let you quickly tweak the nature of each type of sound, showing you just the relevant options. Comprehensive, leaving being overwhelmed, let loose with analog or digital overdrive, depending on the tracks you're playing with. The graphics more than play their part too, with plenty of animated icons, offering visual guidance and extra clarity on each parameter affects sound. The joys of tweaking shouldn't only be for the ears after all. And they do have little cute little icons in their small LED screen here. Special effects, Syntakt lets you route any of your synth tracks or external audio sources through to FX blocks. This gives you analog distortion and filtering and a couple of LFOs to go to town with. Additionally, you can call on delay and reverb as the powerhouse send effects, and all of the above effects can be sequenced with the effects track. Have them kick in at just the right moment, add a synth and dramatic changes to the selected tracks or external audio, or use it as a master track for ducking and gating effects. So yeah, it's all, you can write in any modulation or any of the effects in real time, modify the moment, wield a little extra trig craft using the 4 modifiers, offering 4 varied levels of expression. Configure the first 2 modifiers to give you the retrig or velocity behavior you desire, and use the other 2 to access custom intensities of the parameters. They're ready for action regardless of which synth track you're using. And the best bit is that they don't just give you that extra playability fun in the here and now. You can also capture the moment by recording to the sequencer. It's got onboard sequencing. This thing sounds actually phenomenal, and again, I'm pretty sure this sold out, because if we scroll down here, we'll get back to that. There's plenty of write up on it here, but if we scroll down to the bottom, there was a bundle as well. Let me just have a quick look here. Right down the bottom, yeah, Syntakt bundle, out of stock. So grab your Syntakt special bundle available in our web shop in limited numbers. It'll let you happily introduce Syntakt FX blocks to your external gear. Totally sold out. You had this little cool bundle here as well. A little bit more back here. So deep sound shaping. Syntakt comes full of filters and envelope goodness. All tracks have a multi-mode filter to put to use, allowing you to emphasize different parts of your sound with the digital tracks. Also able to call on parametric EQ and bass width filter. An additional filter giving you even more sonic control. So you can see it's packed full of features, and it's really nice to see Elektron back in the spotlight, and not for the wrong reasons. I remember we spoke about that weird overbridge battery thing that they released last year. I think it was last year, and that got some really negative kickback. But they're doing what they do best, and that's their drum machines, their drum computers, whatever you want to call them, the drum sequences. This is what they do best. They make some of the best, if not the best. Again, I'm not an Elektron guy, but some of the best sounding drum machines on the planet and drum sequences, and this is no exception. It's a nice small form factor. The fact that it has synthesizers in there, this really goes up against like your Novation circuits and so forth. This is even a cut above that, I would say, just based on what is actually included in the box. It has pretty much everything, and this was a new hardware drop just in this last week. So exciting indeed. That is Elektron, and that is Syntakt by Elektron. Let's have one more audio demo here before we leave and get to our main story for the week. Jewel Moon. Let's have a listen. How good is that? Hi-hats sound good. Oh yeah, Jewel Moon demo here. This is the Syntakt by Elektron. Sounding so good. There's a lot going on in this too. You hear all little intricacies. That is a fantastic demo, just showing off how good the Syntakt actually sounds. Well, there it is, another hardware drop here this week. Let's get to this is our main feature here. The TX-6 dropped by Teenage Enginnering, and wow, boy did this come out of nowhere. But at the same time, it almost is not surprising. Teenage Enginnering making pretty far out, I wouldn't say ridiculous, but pretty interesting and different gear. And definitely this is something that, although it is a pretty standard sort of piece of hardware, there's nothing like this in the world. There is nothing like this on this planet. In fact, I would even go as far as saying there's nothing like this in the solar system. And maybe not universe, we'll go to solar system, we'll go that far. The TX-6, this is our main feature, this is our main topic for the podcast today. And it's gone a little bit controversial as well, and we'll get into what that is. Well, we can just say it right now. It's the price. The price of this thing is extraordinary. But before we do that, what is the TX-6? What is it? Well, yes, at its core, it is just a mixer. Yes, it is just a mixer. But you have to look here. If you're looking on YouTube, and I can explain to you on the podcast, it is freaking small. You can see someone's hand, and they're holding it in the palm of their hand. A mixer, a 6-channel mixer. okay? Let's get that straight. 6-channel mixer, and it's packed full of features, and it looks really sexy. And this would go in really nicely if you have the OP1, which I do here. We've got an OP1 in the background by Teenage Engineering. They make really solid hardware. They're just showing you guys are watching on YouTube there, OP1. Love this instrument. Incredible piece of hardware, right? And this will be no exception indeed. So it is an ultra portable pro mixer and audio interface, so it can be used on the go. If you want to take your laptop on the road and you want to plug in some instruments, this will do it for you, and it's battery powered. So the TX-6 is an ultra portable battery powered mixer and multi-channel audio interface comparable to larger units, but with even more tech packed into one sturdy little machine. Mix 6 stereo input channels, use tempo sync, discover the internal synthesizer and sequencer, or use the built-in tuner. M5 compatibility, even lets you connect to your iOS devices. There is a little video over on YouTube here, an introduction video. Let me play this back for you. Here we go.
This is TX-6 Field Mixer from Teenage Engineering, the world's smallest pro audio mixer and ultra portable 6-channel stereo USB audio interface. The package includes the product itself, a printed manual, a USB-C cable, and a jack to mini jack adapter. The unit is made from aluminum, and the backside has a PU leather finish. It weighs 160 grams or 5.6 ounces and has a solid feel. On the top side, it has 6 3.5mm stereo mini jack inputs and a USB Type-C port for multi-channel audio, MIDI control, firmware updates, and charging. The front holds the display, a select encoder and button, 2 effect buttons, and a shift button. Each input channel has 3 parameter knobs, a level meter, a volume fader, and a track button. On the bottom side, you'll find buttons for aux and Q, a mini jack aux output and a mini jack headset output, as well as the main 6.3mm jack output. Turn it on by flipping the power switch to the up position. TX-6 by Teenage Engineering.
Okay, so that's a short introduction video of what the TX-6 is by Teenage Engineering. But you get if you're watching that, if you do watch that video, definitely head over to the YouTube channel. Check out the podcast here today that we're filming, simulcasting as well. Check out the video that we're simulcasting here as well. All sorts of things happening. We are live, of course. Well, we're not live. We are pre-recorded live, if that makes sense, just in case the cat busts in here through the window or something. But the Teenage Engineering, this is where things got a bit funny, because if you actually head over to that YouTube video there and you check the comment section, people are getting hung up on the price, and that's where it gets controversial, because if we go here, we go to buy a unit, and funnily enough, these are not sold out, not like the Syntakt, and I would dare say it has something to do with this. Now, yes, the price, and I was actually interested in getting one of these, and I'm sure many people were when they saw this drop just yesterday, by the way. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think it was yesterday. This literally just dropped. So it's $11.99 USD. Now, that is the same price as the OP1, okay? Now, the OP1 is a fully fledged synthesizer. It's got 8 different synth engines, got drum machine, recorder, everything on here, right? It's pretty good. And I think as a synthesizer as it stands, very small unit, built-in speaker, totally portable. I think at $11.99, this thing here is worth it. And I'm not saying that the TX-6 is not worth it, because again, as I stated at the start of this, the TX-6, there is nothing like this on the planet. There is absolutely nothing that small that is... And also, I almost feel like I would use this mixer more than my OP1. I love my OP1, but the OP1 more or less only comes out now and then when I need some unusual sounds, or I'm just cooking something up, or I'm on the go. And that's when the OP1 is really, really awesome, and I take it with me. But the TX-6, on the other hand, this tool I could see myself using more than the OP1, because it's a mixer. I need mixers all the time, especially on the road. The being able to plug in some synthesizers or maybe some drum machines that I have lying around when I'm on the go, or even just hooking it up to my phone to use in my DAW, like I could record directly into GarageBand. This blows me away that you could have this in the palm of your hands. It does look small, and that makes it hard to justify this price as well. I think with the feature pack, yeah, I'm stuck on the price too. I am too, because I was like, I wouldn't mind just getting this. Maybe we can invest, some of the channel's money into getting one just for you guys too, not just for me, but so I can show you guys how cool this is. But when we're getting up at this price tag here, I mean, that is pretty high up there. But I also want to reiterate that, or not reiterate, but I do want to say that you would spend that sort of money on a brand new phone, right? You'd spend that on a new phone. That is the price of a high-end, though, a very high-end phone. This would be your Pro, your Pro 13, Apple, whatever it is, iPhone or something like that. You would spend that sort of money, but on a mixer, you wouldn't spend that sort of money, because you can get, in this price range, this is up against some Pro mixer prices here. Now, I'm not saying this isn't a Pro mixer. Okay, that is where the controversy is. And if you do watch that YouTube video, you check the comment section, that's pretty much everyone's complaining about the price. If it was half the price, then I think a lot more people would get it. I don't know how they're going to do that, because they've obviously done a lot of R&D into this piece of hardware. But look, I don't want to get stuck on the price. Let's get back into the features and let's get a little bit more info on the TX-6, because it is regardless of the price, this thing is an extremely innovative piece of gear, and it could be extremely useful for many people. I think that obviously the price is going to be the barrier, but in terms of innovation and something that hasn't existed before, they've nailed it. And the Teenage Enginnering TX-6 is where it's at. So it is the smallest of its kind. They can definitely claim that. TX-6 features a 6-channel stereo mixer with a configurable knob layout. Choose to have the 3-band EQ at your fingertips, or customize each knob to control whichever setting you prefer, with more than meets the eye. TX-6 is packed full of features and connectivity options, and size is only half the story. It's battery powered. Okay, there's a synthesizer and a sequencer on this thing. TX-6 also functions as a portable synthesizer and sequencer, and 4 oscillated waveforms and 4 synthesized drum sounds use tempo sync to stay on the beat. So that's a nice little touch there. They've included some of the OP1 engine in there or something. It's got 8 built-in effects, which is perfect for a mixer having effects. You got quality and engineering. As you know, Teenage Enginnering do make high quality products. This is a small, high-quality product. TX-6 is a sturdy little machine encased in CNC aluminium with 2K molding, custom-made encoders and faders, and custom PCB engineered for portability. This is cool. It's got wireless connectivity with BLE. You can use TX-6 as a wireless controller for other BLE-emitted devices, or trigger and sync the internal synth and sequencer from other sources. Super slimline cables. I do like that. Customizable interface. When you're ready for the studio, use TX-6 as a 12-channel audio interface and connect to any door over USB-C. That is also another thing that you need to think about. Yes, it is expensive, but this is an audio interface as well. So not only can it be used as a hardware mixer, which is primarily, if I had this, that's probably primarily what I would use it for. But the fact that it's an audio interface as well is really, really freaking cool, because think about this. You could have your laptop, you could be on the road, and you got this tiny mixer, which is your audio interface as well. That is freaking really cool. So maybe take that into consideration as well when you're considering this price. I know it's expensive, and again, I do want to stress the Emlyn in the Mix YouTube channel is not about just selling you things. It's about bringing to you guys' attention the cool stuff out there, and maybe you can cipher through what is good for you. That is my main intention here, just to help you stay creative, because at the end of the day, you don't need all this gear. You don't need all this software that I talk about. If you found what works for you, then keep at it. That's what works for you, and that's a good thing, right? What else have we got? We've got plenty of features here. DJ mode, you got turn TX-6 on its side and use it as a DJ mixer. This is cool too. Turn channel 1 into a fader to crossfade between the channel 5 and 6, so you can fade or cut between the two. And a bunch of other little small features here, but if we're looking here, watching on the YouTubes here, simulcast, podcast, vodcast, whatever you want to call it. Multi-track elegance. You can see it's hooked up to an iPhone or a phone here into GarageBand, which is pretty cool. Or you can have it connected to your computer as a little audio interface door here. The first portable pro mixer that can be used as a multifunctional 32-bit 48 kilohertz audio interface that has an instrument tuner, built-in digital effects, synthesizer, and drum machine. Connect to your DAW for 12-channel multi-track recording. Use the internal synth and sequencer or control them via external MIDI device. With MiFi, you can even connect to your iOS device. And there's a bunch of other cool feature packed. You can head over to Enginnering to check out this incredible. I don't want to. I know we're talking down on the price, but this is an incredible piece of hardware. Maybe it is worth every single penny. And I know people, unless they maybe do something about the price, which I don't think they will, to be honest. This is Teenage Engineering we're talking about here, but you got to remember the feature packs of this thing is incredible. The fact it's an audio interface, the fact it can be used as a standalone mixer. The only thing I would probably say, as for me personally, that if you wanted to sell me on that price, it is a high price. I think if it had an internal recorder or you could put an SD card into it, then I would be sold. I think that at that point there, if it had a hard drive recorder inside is what I'm trying to say, or some kind of way of recording internally, then it's done. That's done. Because then that becomes a standalone recording device as it is. It doesn't have to be connected to a computer. And that they should have done that. I don't know why they didn't do that. They thought of everything. This thing's nuts. Like the amount of stuff this can do, the fact it has a sequencer on board, and that they didn't do an internal recorder inside, or didn't make it recordable, even just like an SD slot to record onto. It would have ended the game at there, because yes, it is expensive. That's my personal opinion on this. But what do you guys think? I've crapped on along about it enough. I think this is. Look, I want to stress again, reiterating over again, this is an incredible piece of hardware. This is nothing that's been on this ever on this planet, this size, that can do this much. That would be my only feedback on this, is if it had an internal recorder, I could justify that price. I think I could justify it. But what do you guys think in the comment section below? Is this an overpriced, unnecessary piece of hardware, piece of studio gear? Or is this a future retro piece of gear that people are going to want and, you know, salivate over in the future? And is it going to skyrocket in price and never going to go down? Like, where does this item fit in for you? I would be very interested to know. And thank you so much, guys. You can also comment on all the other stuff we covered on the podcast today. It was feature-packed indeed. Lots of cool hardware this week, and maybe we'll see more as the weeks lead up to NAMM. Tell me what you thought about the other products today. Did you like the Volca FM? 2, are you excited about the Syntakt? Are you sad that it's sold out? Is it actually sold out? Am I wrong? What about the Waza Airbase? Put your comments in the comment section down below. Your feedback definitely helps the channel. I love hearing from you guys as well. If you want to leave me feedback on the podcast, if you're enjoying this podcast, please leave me feedback. I do read them. You can leave me a review. I would 100%, 1,000,000% be enjoy if you were to leave me some feedback on the podcast. 5 stars being amazing, 1 star being terrible, 3 stars mediocre, but of course you know it's 5 stars. And leave a like on the way out if you're watching this on YouTube. It definitely helps out the algorithmic YouTube-ness here on YouTube. If you are watching it there, leave a like on the way out. Really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, support link down below, and links to all of the stuff we looked at on the podcast today in this description down below. All right, guys, with that, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back next week with more exciting news. Till then, it's been Emlyn in the mix. Boom. All right, see you guys. Peace out.